Episode 71, 5-1 Streaming Shows.
Sitting all alone, now feeling down in the driveway.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of 5-1. 5-1 is all about the countdown from our panel of experts on a different topic each episode. Today, we are featuring the best streaming shows in our style of counting down from
5-1.
Streaming shows is kind of an ambiguous descriptor. So for clarity's sake, we defined it as shows, well, I guess we kind of talked about this a minute ago. We defined it as shows that are only available to watch via an online streaming service like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, YouTube TV, etc. So we'll get into more detail on that as we get into the list. But at the end of our last episode, Sidekicks, we talked about doing Post Malone songs as our topic. Because he had a new album out at the time. It was relevant, it was topical, but too much time has passed since then. And
I don't know what you're talking about. Post Malone's music is timeless.
Okay, but
he's not as popular as XXXTentacion.
That's okay. You kidding me? How can you say that? There's no name. 5 hit top 10 hits from X.
Name one.
Yeah, name one.
He has 0. Thank you.
Look at me.
No, whatever.
I'm looking
Post
at
Malone
you.
is a better artist, for sure. I don't even like X that much, but X is way more popular.
No,
for all age
I bet you
groups.
everybody that's listening to this show right now doesn't even know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But they all know Post Malone.
Well,
Anyways.
more kids know X.
More 7th graders.
Even
And-
that is not true.
No, that's definitely true.
All right. Well, anyways, after we let too much time pass after the Post Malone album, we also missed our usual recap, review, reaction show that we like to do after Star Wars movies come out and other big releases, at least big for us, right? And we did see and we loved The Rise of Skywalker. Maybe we can talk about that at another time. We also missed the same type of reaction show when The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda became a phenomenon. And too much time has passed for those too. So I thought this topic, streaming shows, would give us, namely Jet, an outlet to talk about The Mandalorian, which I know you've been dying to do because you've told me like 100 times. And maybe we can do a Mandalorian prediction show before season 2 comes out. Yeah?
Yes.
You good with that? All right. Well, before we get much further, I should probably introduce our panel of Netflix experts. I'm Chris, and I'm joined by my 2 downloadable sons.
Cade Moore.
That's my 15-year-old.
Jet Maximus Keith Moore.
That's my 13-year-old. And we are
5-1.
So, Jet, this is your first recording as a 13-year-old. How does it feel?
The same.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jet Max.
Oh.
Happy birthday to you.
Harmonized.
Kate, your voice is still cracked. Actually, Jet's voice is starting to crack now. I hope it does at least once on this episode.
Yeah.
I won't.
You happy about being 13? You're a teenager?
This is not really a big change.
I know it's a big change.
What?
Got a girl.
Huh? No, I don't.
Oh, okay. We'll keep it quiet. We'll keep it on the DL. All right. You just told us about it, but whatever.
No, I don't. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Kate's got a girl.
Oh, yeah, he does. And no.
I think she's listening because she asked me when we're going to record next.
Do you want to give a shout out?
Shout out to Stephanie Ramirez. If you're listening, because you asked me when I was going to record next. So,
shout out to Stephanie. Thank you for listening and for being Kate's girlfriend and treating him so nicely.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
anything else, Jet?
No.
Okay. All right. So we kind of talked about this already, but so that we have it on the recording for our listeners, I set up some rules for my list. It sounds like Kay did something similar, and Jet, you didn't, or I don't know. I don't know anything about your list. My list, I had the rule of it has to be like an original for one of those streaming services that we mentioned before, not something that aired on network TV and then later was available to be watched on Netflix. So, for example, I couldn't use Friends as an option because it aired it was not a Netflix original, but it did, stream on Netflix for a while. I did kind of break that rule on one of my choices, maybe 1.5, and I'll explain when I get there. But did you guys have any similar rules for yours?
I did the same thing as you.
Okay, Jet?
Mostly.
If I feel like there's too many shows to choose from if it's not an original.
Yeah, it would be
originals narrows it down a lot.
And there's still a lot of originals to choose from. I don't think you guys have watched as many.
I've watched a couple.
When I put this out for listener choices, we had a ton of different votes. Like there's a ton of different shows on there, so there's a lot of options.
So it's not like I was about to say there's not like one of those like clear winners or like clear,
there is there is a very clear first place. But
Yes.
then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh were all very
Actually,
close.
1 and 2 should be very close.
Well, I will tell you one. I'm not going to spoil it yet. One was way ahead of everything else.
I'm sure.
2, there is a clear number 2, but it's close. And then there was a big tie between 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll reveal it when we get there. But all right. So are you guys ready? Well, actually, before we get ready, we go on to our list. We should probably do some feedback, right?
Feedback.
So I forgot to share Sidekicks after it published. I never shared it on Facebook, which is where we get a lot of our listeners from, which makes feedback kind of hard because nobody can comment on it when I don't share it. And that happened a long time ago. But I wanted to thank all of our listeners because despite our lack of episodes and me not sharing the episode, we're still getting quite a few downloads. It's a little bit surprising. So that's kind of awesome. We're over 13,000 downloads now. Pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, actually our average...
Hey,
Almost-
13,000. He's 13.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Isn't 13 supposed to be the unlucky number?
It's always been
That's
my
the
lucky
lucky
number.
number.
No, it's
I'm pretty
supposed-
sure it's unlucky because I
Wait.
read something about how like on like really tall like business buildings and stuff, they don't have 13th floors.
You're correct. It is an unlucky number, and a lot of buildings will not have a 13th floor accordingly. For me, it's always been a lucky
Whenever I
number.
ask people, they
Because
say
it's your birthday number.
It's my birthday and my
they,
baseball jersey.
whenever I ask people, they say 13 or 7, and I hate 7.
I think 7's lucky number.
7
Seven's
is
a lucky
so
number.
ugly,
What?
and everyone loves it. And
We should do
so
5 to 1 favorite numbers.
It'd be 5, 4, 3, 2, 23.
5, 4, 3, 2, 23.
Yes.
Like 5 is 5, 4 is 4. I think we could do that. I think that could make.
No, I don't think. No, that we can't make a whole episode off of numbers.
We could do not your 5 favorite numbers, but a number themed episode and ask everybody their favorite number for the listener choices. I'll think of something. All right. Yeah, over 13,000 downloads. Oh, wait, I did get people asking where the F we've been. So that if that counts as feedback. In fact, longtime listener Matt Lewinsky, which we've brought him up many times on this show. Matt has listened to every episode. He's commented on every episode. He's voted on every episode. He retweets our stuff. He comments on Facebook. He does like everything. He's just an awesome, awesome listener. And he also listens to a ton of podcasts. And if he has that same amount of interaction with all of them, I don't know how he does it. I don't know. But he's really, really, he's great. And he sent me a message on Facebook that said, remember podcasting? Remember lists? Remember Jet's puns? Hashtag I remember. Because we've been gone for so long. So we remember and we're here and we're back.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Matt. So let's get on to our list. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Kate always goes first if you didn't remember.
I was about to ask who goes first, so thank you.
And I say moving on.
All right. Yes.
Number 5.
This was higher on my list, but then when I found other shows, it kind of moved down.
Okay.
It's actually I haven't even seen the new season of it, but it's the end of the effing world. I watched that.
Yeah.
I watched the first season when it came out and when it was popular with my friends and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that made it's always fun to watch shows with friends.
Yeah. And that one's...
even if it's not like being released like every Monday or every Sunday or whatever like that, like you still watch and talk about it with your friends and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. That's true. It's fun to watch it with other people when they're also watching it. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that made Game of Thrones so huge is that it came out on Sundays, and it's kind of the last show that I can think of that came out on a day that people went and watched it that day and talked about it that night and the next day. End of the Effing World is a super easy one to binge watch too because each episode is way short.
Yeah,
they're like less than 20 minutes, I think, or maybe 20 minutes exactly. They're very short. I think I did watch season 2. Maybe I finished it.
I'm pretty sure I asked you and you did.
I think I did it one night.
I mean, what made the show fun was like everyone's thought about just like running away.
Yeah.
Like just saying like whatever, like just run away.
Right.
Sounds like a cool idea.
Yeah.
might try it someday. I don't know.
Don't do it.
I don't know. If I'm going anywhere, I'm going to Mexico.
Don't do that either. You'll get kidnapped.
I don't know.
It's
Maybe.
dangerous there.
It is dangerous. I can make money there.
Go to Norway or somewhere overseas.
Money
Wait,
there.
wasn't it Swiss?
Don't run away.
Switzerland is like the most cheap place to live.
Most expensive.
No, it's very expensive to live there.
It was just one of those. It's either Switzerland or Swedish.
I think you're not
Both
Sweden.
of them are.
I think you're thinking of Thailand.
That's what I said. Was Thailand.
Switzerland and I think Sweden. I know Switzerland for sure.
They're very similar.
Has very high cost of living.
Switzerland and Thailand, though. They have,
I would love to live in Switzerland. I've been there. It's one of the most beautiful
I like
places
the name.
I've ever seen.
It reminds me of Twizzlers.
What's the
Yeah.
What's the ranking they do to like the quality of living in each country?
Yeah.
What's it
there's,
called?
There's lots of you might be thinking of
HDI?
GDP, per capita GDP.
It takes into account that too.
What's that worth?
I don't know. It probably takes into consideration other factors like healthcare.
Yeah, it's all of that.
economy and
Switzerland's been
standard
number
of
one
living, yeah.
for
Moving on.
standard, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to live there. Okay.
I've never even
Have you seen the end of the effing world?
No.
Okay. It's a fun thing to watch, and it's fast, and it's on Netflix, right? Yeah.
It's very fast paced. Like everything happens very quickly.
Yeah, it's about a kid, a guy who, like a teenager who, I think if I remember
Psychopath.
correctly, he's like a psychopath. Like he wants to be a serial killer, but then
Oh, I saw the
or
trailer.
he has tendencies.
I saw the trailer, and he wants to kill this girl, but he ends up falling in love with her.
Yeah, and then they end
But
up
he
killing somebody
still
else.
wants-
Oh, and from the trailer, he stuck his hand in like a girl fryer thing,
Yeah,
and he
right.
didn't. So if he could feel pain.
Yeah, but they ended up killing somebody, but it was because he was trying to rape the girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
So is he a good guy?
I don't know. All right, Jet, what's your number 5?
my number 5.
No, that reminds me of what movie? Oh, it's Wreck-It Ralph. When, like one of the villains, they're having like a villain like circle, and like they're all like sad because they're all like losing in every video game.
Uh-huh.
And the guy's like, "So you're the bad guy, but you're not a bad guy."
My number 5 is Cobra Kai.
Okay, I knew that would be on your list.
It's a YouTube TV
Yeah.
original, and it's the only. I think it might be the only YouTube TV original. That's the only one I've heard of.
I'm sure there are others.
There's-
It's the only one you've watched.
There's a PewDiePie show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Scare
But
PewDiePie.
Cobra Kai is on YouTube TV, and I feel like it'd be a lot bigger if it was like on Netflix or something. Because like YouTube TV, I don't know if that many people have.
Yeah, but it was.
Does YouTube TV come with YouTube Red?
I don't think YouTube Red exists anymore. I think that's what they called YouTube TV at first.
I feel like I still get ads for it on YouTube, but I don't know.
Maybe you do. I don't know. Like we have YouTube TV and we can watch Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
if
sure with YouTube Red you don't get like ads or
I
stuff
think
like
YouTube Red, they did away with the name because it was too close to RedTube.
that. No, that's you go to RedTube to get free YouTube Red.
I think that's how that works.
Yeah, it is. Hey, everyone listening, go to redtube.com.
Don't listen to him. Stop
for
that right
free
now.
YouTube Red.
Stop that right now. Yeah, but we watched Cobra Kai together.
Yes.
2 seasons, right?
Yes.
And it's. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows what it is, but it's kind of a sequel to The Karate Kid, the originals from 1985.
This show is just very entertaining for me to watch.
It kind of flips the script and makes Johnny.
In season 1, yeah.
It makes Johnny a likable kind of anti-hero, and it makes Daniel LaRusso kind of
And then
the villain.
at the end of season 1, it flips the script again. Like, flipped it and then flipped it back.
I mean, I missed the very first episode, and I watched all the rest with you. And because I missed the first episode, I think it skewed my perception. But I always was on Team Daniel LaRusso. Like, I was
Which
never on
is
Johnny's team.
so weird.
I was always on Team Jaden Smith.
Like, no one is on team.
Oh,
like,
I think in the first
Daniel.
episode, he was like a total jerk, and I missed that part. Everything that I saw was him being like a sympathetic character and trying to like help, you know? But I guess he was a jerk before that, and I just missed that part. I don't know.
Well, Johnny, he did like spray paint a
I saw that.
dingling on the board,
a
but
wiener.
Daniel did something worse. Like, he tried to shut down his whole entire like apartment and like business and stuff,
yeah. Oh,
which
yeah.
is horrible. Would you rather have that or like a penis on your face?
I don't know. Good
Well,
question.
How'd you go from dingling to penis? in,
I know.
like,
You
10
could have said
seconds?
wiener, and there's levels in between.
wee.
Just say wiener. And it's Wiener.
and
That's Wiener and because you say W's with the V sound.
I like the show because like there's two sides, but not one is necessarily right, one's wrong.
Yeah.
Like in
Except
the
for mine
original,
is right, and yours
in the
is wrong.
original Karate Kid, like it's obvious Cobra Kai's bad.
Yeah.
And the Miyagi Club, what was it? Miyagi-Do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was good. But in this one, Daniel was a little bit like of a wreck without Mr. Miyagi, which I like. He's like reckless, like he was as a kid. And he like sometimes loses his cool and does questionable things.
Yeah.
And Johnny is the same.
Yeah.
But he's always been like that.
Sure.
And so I just like how you can basically choose.
There's
what
like
you think's
shades
right.
of gray in this one. It's not so black and white. I get that. That's nice. That's a good pick. I'm surprised it's not higher on your list. I thought that would be near the top for you.
Isn't this number 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
All right, my number 5, I picked The Haunting of Hill House.
We both haven't seen it.
Oh, really? You guys didn't watch that one?
It's a horror show.
Yeah, it's kind of a horror show on Netflix. I thought you watched some of it, Jet. Were you-
I like saw everyone watching it downstairs. I saw like a clip of it. I went upstairs.
Interesting. I'm not huge into the horror genre in general because I think often horror movies and shows, they lack story and instead rely on scaring you and shocking you into being entertained, which is fine, but it's not what I like. However, I really liked the story in Hill House. It was really scary at times. Like I legit screamed at one scene, and I don't really do that kind of stuff when I'm watching shows and movies. There was a character called the Bent Neck Lady, which is as scary as it sounds. She was a thing of nightmares. There was also this
what's her name?
Bent Neck Lady.
A bent neck lady?
Mm-hmm. Bent Neck Lady.
Was she old?
No, she wasn't that old, but she was dead. And there was this really tall, skinny dude who was like really creepy.
Slenderman.
Yeah, kind of. And I heard there's a part 2 kind of coming out eventually that's going to be called Haunting of Bly Manor. So I'll give that a shot. I don't think it's a sequel necessarily. I think it's like a separate story, but
Same universe.
probably, or I don't know. Like, I think it's a whole separate thing, but I don't know, different
Same
characters and everything.
concept.
Yeah. But yeah, so Haunting of Hill House was my number 5. All right, let's move.
Was it
on.
scary?
It was scary. It wasn't like, I don't know.
Jump scare? Was it like creepy?
There was one scene where I jumped and
Unsettling.
screamed. Like it was super tense, and then
I don't think
something
I've ever
happened.
seen you do that. And
I know.
I've watched horror movies with you.
I never do that, and I legitimately did at one point. Like it freaked me out.
I mean, is it like The Shining where it's just unsettling and creepy?
there's a lot of that,
Or is
and
it like modern day horror, like It?
I would call
like
it.
the new It?
I would call it a mix of The Shining, where it's like tense and creepy throughout, mixed in with some like scary jump scare stuff.
I think The Shining and like those type of movies are more creepy because like they get you to think. Like, for example, The Sixth Sense isn't even a horror movie, but I think it's creepier than a lot of horror movies I've seen.
Definitely.
Just because of the concept and like it just makes you think.
Sure, and it's tense. There's
Okay, but
tense
like
parts.
worst jump scare of all time is definitely The Ring. I showed Dad a clip of this.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the movie, when nothing scary has happened yet, and randomly while they're talking, they open like
like a
there's a
closet
conversation
door.
between two girls, and so, for no reason it pans away to like a different clip of this like door opening, and like the girl's like dead in a
Yeah.
closet, but like her face is all like black and like when someone dies from the girl, how they look
Right,
after,
yeah.
right? Yeah, it was like that. No one saw it coming.
Yeah.
Me and like everyone watching the movie were like freaking out because like it was out of the blue. Like,
I
are you
know
kidding
what
me?
scene you're talking about because it's like two moms. It's like a mom talking to the girl's friend.
Yeah, they're all
And-
related because they're all like.
Well,
yeah.
the mom's daughter is the one who
Yeah.
died, and so she's talking to her friend, and she's like, "I saw the body," and when she says that, it like flashes to what she saw
Yeah.
when she opened the door, and it's
the creepiest thing.
It is super creepy. You're right.
We're on number 4.
Yeah. Okay. What's your?
Number 4.
My number 4 is another one I watched with my friends. It's a Netflix original called On My Block.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but me and all my friends watched this one, and it was really funny because one of our friends looked exactly like one of the characters in the movie. And like the character in the movie was like made fun of for being
Is it a-
short.
is it a movie or show?
series? Sorry, the show. One of the characters was made fun of for being short.
Yeah.
And the guy that looks like him is also like short and looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
So
I have not even heard of that. On the block.
it's like it's on. I think it's On My Block.
Oh, okay.
It's about like a couple of teenagers going through high school, but they live in like the bad part of California.
Okay.
Ghetto.
But like, yeah, there's a lot of like gang
Mafia?
violence and stuff like that in the. I don't know about mafia.
That's totally different.
Yeah,
It is.
Yes.
yeah, and they like they get like in trouble with gangs and stuff, and they're just trying to like go to school and like live like normal lives and stuff like that.
But they have to get out of trouble.
It's entertaining.
Huh.
It's fun.
Interesting. I never even heard of that. All right, Jet. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is something I adore a lot.
That you have to look on your phone because you forgot already.
It is a Netflix original and is probably the second most popular one. It's Stranger Things.
Okay. That's your guess for what second got second place on the listener choices?
Yes.
Okay.
It is for sure.
Okay.
Second place.
So I did not include Stranger Things on my list, not because I don't love it. I love that show, but I knew at least one of you would have it.
I think season 1 is amazing. There's like hardly anything wrong with it. And the ending, if it ended there, it'd be like perfect. I know it's like a cliffhanger because like what did Will spit out? But that storyline with the whole dart thing didn't really go anywhere, like, for me, at least in season 2.
Okay.
Like, in season 2, yeah, it's cute, like, that Dustin has, like, this friendship thing with it.
Yeah.
But, like, it kind of ruins the whole scare factor of what's happening to Will if it's just going to be a friendly Demogorgon, you know?
Sure.
So, I think if season 1 ended there, it'd be perfect, because it just got you thinking, and, like, you never got the answer. Like, Fight Club. That movie doesn't need a sequel, and there's still a lot of questions going through your mind you know, when you watch it. But, of course it got a sequel. It was huge.
Yeah, like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Okay. We no one thought we needed the squeakle, but we definitely needed the squeakle once the squeakle came out. And Shipwrecked. All of them.
And Shipwrecked.
Like all-time classics. All right.
Yes, they are classics. You're right. And not to cut you off, although talking about these all-time classics, but Stranger Things, the first season was a giant phenomenon.
Lightning in a bottle.
I mean, it everybody watched it. It was immensely popular. There was no way they weren't going to make more seasons based on how successful it was.
Season 2 and 3 are good. It's still a good show. But it's too much of a good thing. You know what I mean?
I did not love season 2. I thought it was okay. Season 3 I thought was a lot better.
But still did not compare to season 1.
It was going to be hard to recreate that because they just captured something so perfect. It was like equally scary and nostalgic for fans of the 80s pop culture. And the kids were like the right age. And everything was just right. There's no way they're going to like make something as good.
I'd say,
but it's still been good.
Season 2 and 3 are good shows, but they probably wouldn't make this list. And season 1 is just so great and managed to beat Cobra Kai.
Okay. Oh, wow. I thought both of those would be higher on your list.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what's on your list now.
Same.
Okay.
All right. Number 4 for me is The Boys, which I watched on Amazon Prime Video. Only one season so far. Season 2 is going to be released soon. You guys have not watched this one. I highly recommend it to both of you. I think you'd both really like it.
Is it a comedy?
It's kind of there are funny parts, but
Dark
it's not.
Comedy.
It's very dark. Yeah, it's kind of a superhero show because it's about superheroes, but it's not really a superhero show, and it's not similar to any superhero show you've ever seen. The superheroes in the show are most of them are corrupt. And they kind of like
anti-heroes.
No, they're not heroes at all. And, well, I mean, they're superheroes, but they're not heroes in their characters and all at all.
So they're anti-heroes.
No, an anti-hero is like the Punisher.
Yeah, like someone who kills someone.
But he's not corrupt. He's still a hero.
No,
he just doesn't go about it in a traditional sense.
Venom is not really a hero or a villain. He kills people and he's brutal, but
he's not an anti-hero either.
I'd say you're a hero no matter what if you get the job done. That's not true, actually.
I think.
Well, what I'm trying to say, these guys aren't anti-heroes. They're the bad guys in the show. They aren't.
Oh, so it's just the perspective of a villain.
No, just let me talk about it because you're not going to understand unless you see the show. But they're not anti-heroes. They're corrupt, and there's a group of vigilantes that are the heroes of the show. One of them is an anti-hero for sure because he does things very questionably, but his motives are good. They set out to take down these superheroes. And the show kind of shocked me right in the very first opening scene. Totally unexpected and violent and carried big shock factor. And then they carried that throughout the show. Like, it stayed that way. It's not for little kids, but highly entertaining. And I'm really looking forward to season 2.
So it's like, it has a dark tone throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
And it's unexpected when it first happens.
Yeah, but I mean, it carries that same kind of like shock. There are other moments in the show that are like equally.
How many episodes are there?
I don't know, like 10 or something. Whatever the normal amount is in a streaming show these days.
Okay, good choice.
All right.
Moving on?
Yeah, moving on. Cade, what's your...
Number 3.
My number 3 is a Netflix original called Ico Incarnation.
I've never even heard of this one either.
I know.
That's a
I
Netflix
threw this one
original?
to spice it up a little bit.
It's
I think
an
this is one of
anime.
the. It's an anime.
Oh,
a Netflix
okay.
original anime, and I think it was one of the first animes I watched. I'm not into it. I'm not one of those kind of people. That's like
One of those people?
I'm not one of those people. I'm really not.
You
But,
were
like,
for a bit.
I was.
A weeb?
There's nothing wrong with watching anime. But you're just saying, you're clarifying.
I
it's
just
not.
don't want to be classified with the people that are like.
Jet was really into
hardcore.
anime for a
Yeah,
little
he
while.
was.
Yeah, for like a month, and then I got over it like everything else.
Yes.
Yeah, but I chose this show because I was bored when I don't know how old I was.
Probably
must
last
have been
summer.
No, it was way before that.
Okay.
It was like
I
it was
remember
before we
it.
watched Dead Man Wonderland. That's
Oh, a long time ago.
I watched part. And what was after that? I watched part of it with Cade.
Okay. It was probably a couple summers ago when you could like stay up all night.
yeah, probably. I don't know. I binge watched
Well,
this.
I bet you were like. I was like.
It was a while ago.
I was like
and
8.
Enough to remember. I don't remember a lot of the show,
Yeah.
but I do remember liking it a lot.
It's nostalgic.
Yeah, it wasn't like. It was. It was one of those animes where or the shows that it's a play on what people think, and at first it starts off it's just gonna be like an action show, but then it gets really deep and it messes with your head and
Yeah.
it's about your conscience. I don't know. It was. It started off they're giant robots fighting aliens and stuff like that, and,
Yeah.
and then it got to whoa, what's the meaning of life?
Interesting.
So
Cool.
I liked it.
All right, Jet, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Daredevil.
Netflix original?
Yes. I remember when Marvel beat DC with movies, obviously, in recent years,
Yeah.
that is. And people were like, well, yeah, Marvel has better movies, but DC has better shows, because they were referring to The Flash and Arrow.
Yeah. Arrow sucks, by the way, but keep going.
The truth is that they have an engaging soap opera story, but they have crummy acting and, kind of bad effects and, a very convoluted thing. But it has an engaging story that's, it's like CW, basically.
Like the production values aren't
Yeah.
super high. Yeah.
So I think they're not horrible. They're entertaining. It's like watching a rock movie or Fast and Furious. They're entertaining,
Yeah.
but they're obviously not good
They're
movies.
not deep. Yeah. All right, but Daredevil.
Daredevil came out and it proved that Marvel just destroys them again. It
Yeah.
blows it out of the water. It has a great story, great action, great acting. Season 1 and 3, that is. Season 2 had a little bit more ridiculous stuff. The way Daredevil fought in 1 and 3 was kind of realistic. He
Yeah.
beat everyone up.
Even though he's
And
blind.
he got tired eventually. In season 1, there's this hallway scene where he's taking out 50 guys.
Yeah.
And at the end, he's kind of sloppy
Right.
because he's obviously really tired. Season 2 has more ninja flips and stuff like that, but it's okay. It's whatever.
And The Punisher was in season 2
Yeah.
also. That's before The Punisher came out as its own show.
Yes. And Daredevil.
With John Bernthal, is that his name?
Yes.
And the guy that you think I look
yeah,
like.
you look exactly like John
I
Bernthal.
don't at all. I think
Anyways,
Cade does a little bit.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, he's a handsome dude and he's buff.
All right. Is he short?
I don't know. I don't think he's that short.
he's cool.
I haven't
He's
seen- I
a
don't know.
great
I haven't
actor.
seen
You know who
show.
Shane is from Walking Dead? Did you ever- Shane from The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Shane
That's him.
Shane is one of my
Oh.
favorite characters. In The Walking Dead, he was a perfect protagonist, not Negan. I hate Negan.
Negan sucks, but you mean antagonist?
Is that show
Antagonist,
still
yes.
going on?
I think so. I think there's
That's-
4 people that still watch it. All right, but keep going. We're getting off track here. So Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil is great protagonist, antagonist. I like the side characters a lot.
Yeah. So compare it to the other, because I'm assuming none of the other Netflix Marvel shows made your list.
None of them are as good.
They're
None
not
of
as
them.
good, but how would you rank the others? Quick.
Okay.
So Daredevil 1.
Daredevil 1.
Have you seen the others?
I've seen the first season of the others.
Okay.
Number 2, I'd go Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones is really good.
Number 3, Luke Cage.
Luke Cage is good.
4, what was it? They're Defenders. or
Defenders,
whatever.
where they combine
And the
them
last one is Iron Fist. Iron Fist is pretty bad to me.
It is, but you forgot the Punisher.
Oh, Punisher? I didn't see that one.
Okay. My list wouldn't be too far off.
Isn't the Punisher logo the skull thing?
Yes, it is very popular.
Why do I see that on like a back of like 2000 Silverado trucks?
Yes, you're right. It always
everywhere
is.
in Texas.
It's a cool looking logo, and he was like a popular comic book character.
Okay.
The show, The Punisher, was good. It was really good actually, but it wasn't as good as Daredevil, and that's where the character was kind of introduced. In that universe, right? And was already in the comic books, obviously, but in the Netflix Marvel universe, Punisher was a big character on season 2 of Daredevil, and then got his own show, which was also good, just not as good. Jessica Jones is really good, though.
Jessica
I really
Jones
like that show.
is great. Also, DC had like another show called Titans, and I think it was trying to capture the Daredevil vibe. Like, this is what happened. So the trailer released, and it's Robin, and he's killing everyone. And Batman's not there, and he's killing. There's blood all over him. And then one of the robbers says, "Where's Batman?" And then Robin says, "F Batman,"
What?
and then kills the guy. I'm like, okay, they're trying to capture Daredevil because it's all dark and stuff, but
Robin
it
is
doesn't
like
work at
too
all.
established of a character. Everybody already knows he's lame. Like, that's not gonna work.
The shorts, bro. The green
like-
shorts from
like
the
Aquaman.
old comics.
Aquaman is. He's lame. Like, he obviously is. That's why they picked this big buff dude from Game of Thrones to play him. They try everything to make Aquaman cool, but still no one likes him because.
I never saw it. You did. You saw it with Dylan?
No, I'm just saying, like, in general. You saw
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman, and he was in it for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
All these are still better than Captain Marvel.
I haven't
These
seen
movies.
that. I haven't seen that.
That was not a
either.
good movie. I hated that movie.
No. That's way better than Suicide Squad and Batman
Oh,
versus
those are
Superman.
horrible.
What's it called?
Those are horrible. Captain
That was the
Marvel-
best Joker performance I think I've ever seen.
Are you serious?
No, he's
Jared
being,
Leto?
he's being facetious. Although I don't think Jared Leto was the problem with that movie. I think
no.
he did fine. It was the way the character was written and the movie was written.
I think he acted bad, but like his dialogue choices and the way they made him do things. So
Yeah.
basically, what you said. But it wasn't his fault that it was he was horrible in the movie.
Yeah. You know, we did a reaction show to that.
Yeah, my opinion has changed greatly.
Okay,
by the
I'm
way.
just making sure. All right. All right. So your number 3 was Daredevil. I like that choice. It was an honorable mention for me. My number 3 is Orphan Black, and this one kind of breaks the rules for me. I think I watched it on Netflix. I can't remember for sure, but
Is it about prisoners?
no. I'll tell you what it's about. But it was originally created elsewhere on some other network, but in the United States, you could only watch it
On
on
Netflix.
Netflix. So I counted it for me, even though it's not a Netflix original. The actress, her name is Tatiana Maslany. She's like, I was so thoroughly impressed with her performance on the show, every episode, because she plays like 12 characters on the show, because the show is about her and clones of her. And the way it works is like, she witnesses this girl getting murdered. Or no, I'm sorry. Witnesses a girl committing suicide. And she tries to go help her, but it's too late. The girl's dead. And she looks at her, and it's her. It's like the same person.
How did she commit suicide?
That almost reminds me of the real meaning behind Phil Collins in the Air Tonight. Apparently, he's watching another dude that's watching someone die in a river, but he's watching from a point where he can't do anything about it. It's like you can see what's happening, but you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And so he's he's performing the next day, and the guy that was watching the other guy that maybe could have helped die.
Yeah.
He's in the front crowd, and he's telling him the story to him from his point of view.
Oh, interesting.
That
Yeah, never mind. Continue.
is creepy.
So she sees the suicide. It's a girl that looks just like her, and it starts her like on this chase and to try to like identify the mystery of like
Hunt them down.
why this girl just likes her. She finds out there's other clones. She actually assumes the identity of the dead girl to try to figure out like what her life was like and what was going on. And there's a lot of her, and then there's somebody. One of the clones is trying to hunt down all the other ones, but they're all from different areas of the world, and they have different accents and personalities and different looks. And she plays all of them, even though you see it's in her face, it's the same person. They all seem like completely different people because she like nails the performances of all of them.
That's pretty impressive.
It is. Now I stopped watching the show before it finished because they took it off of Netflix or whatever streaming service I was watching it on, and I didn't want to pay for the rest of it. However, I really, 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 really enjoyed it enough to make it my number 3.
Wow.
All right, Cade, what's your...
Number 2.
I think it was Stranger Things, but we kind of talked about it, so
Okay, anything else you want to add?
all right.
All right. Jet, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Vikings. And
Okay, so
I
this
guess
is-
this kind of breaks the rule, but I have reasoning, I guess.
Let's hear it.
It's on the History Channel, and the History Channel is on Disney Plus. Now, I don't think you can watch Vikings on Disney Plus.
The History Channel is not on Disney+.
Okay, well, History Channel, yes, it is.
National Geographic.
Oh, they're the same
No, they're
thing.
not.
Okay, Hulu has Vikings,
It does.
and Vikings is on the History Channel, and History Channel is not on Hulu, but Hulu has Vikings. Nevertheless, Vikings on my list, and I broke the rule.
That's okay. I said you could, but we talked about this beforehand because I know sometimes, like, for example, if there's a show that maybe aired elsewhere, but you watched it all on Netflix or Hulu or whatever because that's when you saw it, it's a Hulu show to you. And, we always say this list is open for interpretation.
Really love this show. It made me feel a variety of different emotions. One time I cried about it on here, but let's not talk about that.
I remember that.
Basically, I think the best scene about this show, or at least at first, was the characters. Like Ragnar, Lagertha, Rollo, Bjorn are all like fantastic, and they really get you to care about Ragnar and Lagertha. And then Ragnar cheats on Aslog, and all this other conflict happens. But it still maintains like season 1 through 4. Just maintains the relationship. So like with Athelstan, with Floki, I just love all the characters in the show.
Yeah.
That's basically why I put it as my number 3.
Yeah.
And the newer seasons, I like Ivar a lot. I don't really like anyone else, but
I stopped watching the season. I mean, spoiler alert! If you don't want to get spoiled about Vikings, shut your ears or fast forward 20 seconds. The season where Ragnar dies. After that season, I stopped watching.
Yeah, I think his death was fantastic, and the build up to it, and how he tried to hang himself and he fell. All that is fantastic.
Yeah,
like his whole story arc is fantastic. After that, how they handled the show. Not necessarily bad.
I don't think it was
When
bad.
did
I was just not invested
less
in it
invested,
anymore.
exactly.
Kind of like
What was your
happened
favorite
with The Walking
hairstyle
Dead.
from him?
Oh,
In the very beginning, when he had
he had the long hair with
Yeah,
like
he's
kind of
had-
shaved around the sides.
he's had that one.
I like
He's
the
had
the
like the
long
buzz
braid
cut.
that goes back like
He has-
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
with
what
his
we're
beard.
talking
That
about.
one's sick.
Yeah,
He had the buzz cut, and then he went bald, which was actually pretty cool
He
because
looked
you could see all
great,
the
yeah.
tattoos. And then you have like very old, long beard Ragnar.
yeah.
But I'd pick how he looked from the beginning.
Ragnar is an awesome character for sure. Did you ever watch Vikings,
I
Cade?
didn't.
And
Yeah.
you watched part of it,
I watched it.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then you passed me.
Wow.
And I remember
Wow.
he kept ignoring me. He said Lagertha,
Oh yeah.
and I like got so mad at him.
Lagertha is way hot.
Than Aslog.
No, I just mean in general.
Yeah, but she's also way
Which one?
hotter.
Lagertha.
But, and I know I was one of those people who were like, Ragnar, how could you cheat on Lagertha? But I don't blame him for 2 reasons. One, he couldn't have the kid, and the only kid he did have with her, or besides Bjorn, was like came out deformed, like it was bloody. It died during birth. That's the point.
Yeah.
2, Lagertha cheated on Ragnar first, so
Yeah. Well, they kind of had an open thing going on for a little bit there. I don't
no.
know if we can judge. All right. So Vikings, your number 2. Anything
Yes.
else to add on Vikings?
No, it's a good show.
It is very good. Very, very, very good show. All right. My number 2, this is where I did break the rule for sure. I picked an HBO show here.
How dare you?
I know, but it streamed on HBO Go, so I counted it. And there are a lot of HBO shows I considered, and I'll talk about those in my honorable mentions. But the one I picked for my list is True Detective. Season 1 of True Detective, one of my favorite shows ever. Season 2, hot garbage, as Jet would say. Season 1 had Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey in it. It is so good. One of the best shows I've ever seen, really. It's kind of a cop show, and I hate cop shows. I'm not a fan of them, but
You don't like cops?
no, I did not say that. I don't like cop shows.
Oh.
They go
I don't
around.
really like cops.
I love cops.
They go.
No, the cop show.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of cop shows either. But they go around discovering mysteries surrounding this like crime together. They're chasing some killer, and it's dark, and the pacing of it, and when you find out information, is just perfect. Season 2 really sucks. It's a totally different. It's kind of the same concept I talked about with Haunting a Hill House and its sequel show. It's like totally different story, different characters. Like everything's different, and it wasn't interesting at all. I heard season 3 was actually good, but I haven't watched it. And someone mentioned that in our listener choices, actually.
So is season 3 like another completely different
I would
story?
assume, but I never went back and watched it. But maybe I will, because it got a really good recommendation, actually, from my former boss, Shannon, who we're Facebook friends now, and he chimed in on listener choices. So maybe I'll go back and give it a watch for season 3. But that's my number 2, season 1 of True Detective.
All right, Cade,
Haven't seen
what's
it.
your
Cade, what is your
number 1?
Number 1.
I think I mistakenly put this one as my number 1. I don't know if I actually believe it was, but it was the first one I wrote down. So I might have just not changed it while making my list.
Go with your gut.
The Mandalorian.
Nice.
Same here.
Is your number 1 also? Okay, let's hear it.
Is Mandalorian not even on your list?
It's not.
That's. Oh, so now I'm supposed to not blame you for Star Wars not being your number 1.
You can blame me entirely. I will accept that blame. I didn't put it because I knew you guys would. I wanted to do some different
The
choices.
story of Mandalorian, just from what I've seen so far, if it continues on the same track, like season 2, I just need one more season, it could possibly be close to one of my favorite Star Wars stories ever.
Yeah, I think you dug it.
I've always been into Mandalorians.
Yeah,
Like,
the culture and the...
I
the
re-
whole
I really
armor.
like Baby-
I read books when I was little. And played the games, and if you had like in the games, you have to choose between like a Jedi or a Sith or
Yeah,
He always
Man,
chose
I wouldn't
Mandalorian.
choose Mandalorian all the time. Like
yeah.
I've always been into them.
I will say I've never been huge into the Mandalorian stories and the other thing. I didn't really like the Mandalorian books. There was actually a lot of controversy. This is going to be really boring for our listeners, so I'll keep it super short. There was controversy around the Mandalorian books that were written before Disney bought Lucasfilm,
Yeah.
and it was all its own kind of canon. There was an author named Karen Travis who like had this whole Mandalorian story going on. A lot of people are really into it. I wasn't one of those people. And then they erased all of it by something that happened in the Clone Wars, actually, with the Mandalorian backstory there.
Yeah.
Totally like erased everything she'd written. And there was like 4 or 5 books, like detailed, lengthy books. It pissed a lot of people off. But I never really liked it anyways.
That sucks. Dude.
I love Baby Yoda, but I wish I want more screen time of like they need to dive deeper into that the Mandalorians like actually like their tribe or whatever.
Yeah,
they do.
we need some more lore.
But
They touched on
but
some of
That's
it.
my only problem. I think everything else
With the girl
is
that
great.
made the armor and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that whole.
She was the one who
scene.
kind of revealed drips of their history, their lore,
Mm-hmm.
what's important to them. We kind of got through her. She was a cool character too.
Oh, she was. Yeah, her helmet was sick.
Her helmet was really cool, and she was a badass fighter
Yeah.
too. And the thing with the show is, I really liked it. I'll say I loved it. And every episode was good. Some were great. The thing I liked about it the most wasn't Baby Yoda. The thing I liked about it the most was that it was positive Star Wars press. When for a couple years now, everything that's come out Star Wars has just been kind of trashed. You know, with the
sequel, prequel.
well, I mean specifically like the Last Jedi, and then
Rise of Skywalker.
and Solo in between. Like,
Solo was also horrible reception.
yeah, it just nobody went and saw it. But then the Mandalorian comes out and like everybody loves it. And I'm hoping this new platform on Disney Plus, they're having an Obi-Wan show, a live action show coming out. Hopefully this is a platform where Star Wars can be like critically acclaimed and successful and generally liked in the public, since the movies aren't doing as well. So that's what I liked about it. Baby Yoda too. He's cute. When the coolest scene in the whole series, and it was such a surprise. Like, I don't think anybody was spoiled to it that I know, was when he opened that thing and there was a Baby Yoda in there in the very first episode.
no
Like,
one saw that coming.
it was so cool. Yeah. I feel bad for people who heard about Baby Yoda online and then went back and
Before,
watched it,
yeah.
because you missed that scene, because it was just so cool when you discovered it for the first time.
Because I all my friends on the wrestling team, they're all like, what's it called? Waiting for it to come out, and we're all gonna watch it the day it came out.
Yeah.
And so we all watched it, and we all like immediately were like, "That's a Baby Yoda!" Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. Because no one saw it coming. But
Yeah.
then like people that were like waited like a week to get Disney Plus or something like that, they would have already seen the Baby Yoda meme.
Yeah,
We
because it
still
was
don't know the
huge.
spe-
It was one of the biggest memes I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
the way it took off, it was everywhere.
I don't know Baby Yoda's species name or even his name.
No, we don't know his name yet.
You just call him Baby Yoda.
All right. Well, anything else about the Mandalorian?
No,
Okay,
sir.
Cade.
All right.
All right. My number 1 is Patriot on Amazon Prime.
I knew this would be on your list. I didn't expect it to be so high.
Patriot is probably the most beautifully written show I've ever seen. It is so good. It was recommended to me by by a longtime listener and a longtime best friend of mine, Casey King.
Is it Amazon Prime?
It's on Amazon Prime, and I am so glad I watched it. The basic premise is it's an intelligence officer, like a secret agent type of guy, who works for this piping company as undercover, and it's this like extremely boring and mundane job, but it gives him opportunities to Like the fact that it's so boring and he's so capable, it provides a lot of opportunities for like clever hilarity, but also it gives the main character a chance to regularly travel to Luxembourg where they do business, and he has to go there for this mission that he's on that his dad is actually assigning him. His dad's like a higher level within this intelligence agency, and he has to go there to prevent Iran from getting the funding to go nuclear. So it's like in a really important mission, but he has to do super questionable and dark things.
He's an anti-hero.
No, he's a hero. Maybe he's an anti-hero. I don't think so. He just really struggles with the whole thing, what he's having to do. And I don't really know how to describe this show where it makes sense and gives it credit for gives it as much credit as it deserves. But I will say it's super clever and sad and funny and actiony and meaningful and thought-provoking and satisfying. Like I have no complaints about this show. It is amazing. It's perfect. Watch it.
Where'd you watch it on?
Amazon Prime.
Isn't the protagonist very interesting?
Yeah, super interesting. Yeah, it's a great show. I think not enough people have seen it. It is really, really good.
We should do top 5 show or movie protagonists.
Heroes?
Protagonists. Not all protagonists are heroes.
You're right. All right.
I think our next episode should be music-based.
We can do that. I got some ideas brewing for that. All right, Kay, do you have any?
Honorable mention.
No.
None. Okay. Jet, do you have any honorable mentions?
Back to the Future.
What?
That's not a...
HBO Go.
Okay. I had a few. I'll mention them. Obviously, I left off Stranger Things and The Mandalorian on purpose, so you guys could talk about them, but they both would have made my list. 2 shows that I kind of considered like True Detective that weren't really originals. One was Westworld, another HBO show. Really, really, really good. Really good. And then the other was Vikings, which Jed already talked about. I had 3 others that I liked, but not enough to put on my list. Cobra Kai.
I've heard a lot about Westworld, actually.
It's really good. Cobra Kai, Lock and Key is a new one that I just watched on Netflix. It was interesting, but not good enough to make my
Lockheed?
list. Lock and Key.
Oh.
And there's one called the OA. The OA I watched last year, and
What does it stand for?
If they revealed it, I can't remember. Super interesting and weird and good show. Season 2 is out now, and I started it, and I couldn't remember enough to get back into it. So I don't know. I might have to give that a redo. Daredevil and Jessica Jones we already talked about, and then The Witcher I watched recently. Really good. Not enough to make my list though. Handmaid's Tale, extremely good show.
I like The Witcher. What's it called? It's like a critically acclaimed show.
Yeah.
And the game is also...
The show was pretty well received. The game is insanely well received.
Yeah.
The game is, lots of people regard it as one of the best games of all time.
Yeah, and, I've seen gameplay of it.
Gameplay?
Doesn't look fun.
It's obviously not for the gameplay. It's for
the story and stuff like that, but, still.
Like Red Dead Redemption 2 has, kind of... Gameplay's alright, but the story's amazing.
Ozark was one I watched on Netflix. Really good. The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is a comedy that I watched when I used to sort cards in here, and I'd put it on at our old studio actually, and I would put it on and because I didn't have to really pay attention to it, but when I would laugh at it and watch it, it was super funny. So I kind of wish I had paid more attention to it, but it was really good. And then Bates Motel was the last one I put on here. I liked the show. I didn't love it enough to make my list. I really like the character that plays the mom. I think she's beautiful and charming and kind of makes the show really, really good. But it didn't quite make my list. So those were my honorable mentions. I had a few others, but I won't talk about them because I've already named 15. All right. Hey, Cade, what is
the worst?
I chose Riverdale.
Okay. Interesting. Is that a Netflix show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Why is it the worst?
I watched the first season with my friends again, which made it more fun.
Yeah.
And also at a time where I didn't have a good taste or opinion on anything.
Yeah, you were in 6th grade, maybe 7th.
Yeah,
and your intelligence of movies was not even comprehensible to mine.
The sentence is not comprehensible.
What?
I know what you're trying to say. He's saying he's got better taste than you at the age when you were at
No,
that
I know what
age.
he's saying.
He just didn't say it right. That's fine. But
yeah, and it was the first season was fun. It was the acting was bottom tier. It was not very good.
yeah.
The story was interesting. It had like a good plot to it, but it was I think they messed up. They made every character ever in like extremely like good looking and attractive.
Yeah.
Like it didn't seem real at all.
Sure.
Like no one looks this good.
I'd never seen it, but I feel like that's a show that was designed for people that were at your age when you watched
Yeah.
it. Like,
And then they
preteens,
released,
young teens.
Season 2, a couple. I don't know how long it was after, but where my taste had gotten a little better since the
Right.
time I watched the first season, and it was just not. I don't know. It wasn't the same.
Not the same. Yeah.
It
All
doesn't
right.
make fun anymore.
Anything else to add about why Riverdale is the worst?
I mean, it's hard to choose. I haven't seen very many
Yeah.
streaming shows, but I remember not liking season 2 of Riverdale, so I'm just gonna put that there.
Sure. All right. Jet, what's your worst?
Insatiable.
Insatiable?
Insatiable.
Why is Insatiable the worst for you?
So there's two reasons. One, I saw a video analysis of how it feels as a show. Oh, there's also another show, Big Mouth.
I watched that. That was funny.
No, it's horrible.
It was so funny.
All right, two.
Wait, did you actually watch Big
Let
Mouth?
me talk about both. Yes, I started it. All right, so one, Insatiable. I watched like 2 or 3 episodes just to see like if it was actually horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started the analysis. I'm like, I'll try to watch it, and I'll come back to see. And if you try to explain the show to anyone, you can't.
Yeah.
There's this girl that's like fat, and then she hates it, and everyone hates her because she's not hate her. Well, she's just fat, and she wants to be skinny.
Okay.
So she becomes skinny,
Okay.
and then she gets, and so the show actually gets kind of good for some like bad acting, of course, but she starts overeating again and like real problems.
Yeah.
She gets possessed by a demon middle of the show, and then I don't even know what happened. They try to like get the demon out of her. It's not explained, but like halfway through the episode, I like turned it off. It was
Okay.
so bad.
I've never even heard of it, but keep going.
Big Mouth has a good concept, but it fails in every single way for it to
No,
be at
Big
least
Mouth
a
is so
little bit
funny.
competent. So the idea is that a bunch of 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, the age of me, are going through puberty, and they're like, it's supposed to be like test like lots of real problems, like
Sure.
going through like testing what gender you're attracted to, and getting about like going through puberty, like everyone does it. And then the hormone monster is let me explain what it was supposed to be. The original intentions was it to be. It's kind of interesting. It's like a Tyler Durden, basically. Like, all your hormones into one monster, like, and that monster is constantly pushing you to do these bad things. But 2 reasons. One, they never expand upon it.
Yeah, they do.
Like, they just know. And 2, the rules of the hormone monster are totally, like, doesn't make sense. So this one character, like, with a mustache has this hormone monster. And you're supposed to think it's it's only his hormone monster, but everyone sees a hormone monster like this. Yeah. Why doesn't everyone just have their own hormone monster so they can expand upon it and like make some like real life issues? But now it's just there for comedic effect, and it's like
because once you're done going through puberty, the hormone monster goes away.
No,
and the guy with the mustache was like 38.
Still had one, so that was
no. He got it.
Oh,
and it helped him, but
yeah.
Okay, no,
I mean,
that's not
there's no need to expand upon it. It was really funny.
There's
like
this
the whole
guy
story
who
was
was like 40 years old, and he still had like a crippled hormone monster, and everyone saw it, and they looked at it, and they laughed. Plus, it's just what I don't understand. And one episode, the origin of the hormone monster is that it was an alien that landed on this place, and it had sex with the Earth.
Yeah,
that is just horrible. Why can't just everyone have their hormone monster and make that the physical living thing?
Okay, hold on. Let me try to summarize. What you're saying is that the show tries to like touch on important topics, but instead it fails because what Katie's saying, it's more comedic.
It's definitely more comedic.
So
No,
it's
it's
but you don't think it's funny,
it's not
and
funny
you
at
think
all.
it failed on the what it was
humor is
trying to
very-
accomplish with its big issues or important issues.
The humor is very like hormones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's very bad. I guess maybe you could like it if you're an ignorant teen who just watches things for the dark or just
If that's-
stupid effects.
Or if that's their
But if you're
humor
actually
style.
paying attention and like competent filmmaking, you will absolutely hate this. It's hot garbage. Big Mouth is the worst.
I was waiting for you to say hot garbage this episode. You've been saying this so much lately. All right, my worst. It was hard for me to pick a worst because most of the time, if I started a show and I didn't like it, I just walked away from it because it didn't ever hook me. So I didn't have like enough frame of reference to pick what's the worst, and I don't know like how bad or overrated they are if I didn't really watch them.
Yeah.
So for my worst, I picked a show that I actually watched a full season of, and I have some gripes about, and I picked 13 Reasons Why.
Oh.
And it's not because the show is bad. It's actually very thought-provoking, and the story is compelling. But it really bothered me for a few reasons. One, the main topic of the show is suicide, and you guys know that's a topic that's very near and dear to me for various reasons. It's a hard thing for me to enjoy a show that's centered around something I feel that strongly about emotionally. And two, it kind of, how do I say this? It kind of glamorizes suicide in a way. And the fiction story part of the show that's like revolving around it. And I hate that because suicide is not a glamorous thing. It's a very serious thing. It's not a show that I would want you guys to watch. It's not a show that I would recommend for
Anyone.
any kid or teenager or anybody that's impressionable to watch at all. And it's also awful and heartbreaking. Like it's really sad. So I picked it as the worst.
I didn't see it.
Good. Don't watch it. All right. That brings us...
I think when that was popular, I was going through my anime phase, actually.
Good. I would much rather you watch anime, even if it was hentai. All right. Let's do our...
Listener choices.
We asked social media. I forgot Twitter. Dang it. I did Facebook and Instagram. What's the best streaming show of all time? And I got lots of responses. In fact, they came in slow this time, but we got over 100 votes. We ended up getting with 105, which is a decent sample size for our shows. I mean, sometimes we've gotten 1,000, but 100 plus I consider A-okay.
And plus, we haven't recorded.
Since we haven't recorded since November, I'm good with that.
It's been that long.
It's been that long, yeah. And the last time before that was August. Wow. Like, we've fallen way behind. So let's pick up the pace.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
I'm gonna
5 months.
There was a tie for some shows that were like on the almost there in the top three. The top three are separate, so I'll list those kind of honorable mentions first. Schitt's Creek, Peaky Blinders, which I've heard is great. I just haven't seen it yet. Outlander, which I've seen some of, and it's a very interesting premise, but I haven't finished it. And House of Cards, which I have no interest in at all. But all of those were tied for like with the same amount of votes, almost in. Then the top three. Narcos, which is on Netflix.
I want to watch that one.
I've heard amazing things about it. I have not seen it.
One of my favorite Migos songs, Narcos.
Is from Narcos.
No, it's called Narcos.
Oh, it's called Narcos.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, Jet, your prediction was Stranger Things. That is incorrect. Number 2 is Ozark.
Number 1, Stranger Things.
Number 1 is Stranger Things by a lot.
Mandalorian.
That's what I thought.
It did not make anywhere near the top 5, which surprised me. But maybe if we'd done this like a month or two ago, it would have gotten more votes. I think it only got like 1 vote, maybe even 0. I don't even see it on my list.
Dang.
Yeah, which was surprising. I thought it would get more votes too. But yeah, Stranger Things was number 1 by far. A lot of people even said, here's my list, not including Stranger Things, because it's obviously my number 1.
Oh, so did you count those two?
Yeah, I still counted it because I said it's their number 1. So, according to our listeners, Stranger Things is the best streaming show of all time. All right. Now that we've done listener choices, we should go on to our...
Pew, pew, pew,
Good.
pew.
Glenn Solomon fun fact of the week.
Pew, pew, pew,
Good.
pew.
I found a few facts about Netflix that I thought were like super interesting, so I thought I would name them here. The story goes that Blockbuster, you guys know what Blockbuster is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Blockbuster late fees are what we can thank for Netflix, because the founder, Reed Hastings, was annoyed that Blockbuster wanted to charge him $40 in late fees and developed the idea for Netflix in his head at that time. later, Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix for
Yeah, I
$50
remember
million,
that.
and they passed on
I
it.
saw like a video.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what sealed their doom, basically. Like, Blockbuster failed as a business afterwards because Netflix took off.
Should have bought
They
it.
could have bought it for $50 million. That's a bargain for what Netflix went on to become.
Poor Blockbuster.
Yeah, I know. Second fun fact: 15%. This kind of blew my mind. 15% of the world's bandwidth is consumed by watching Netflix. It's like all of the data that streams in the world over the bandwidth is 15% of it is consumed by Netflix alone.
That's a lot.
That is a
I don't
lot.
understand.
Like anytime anybody uses the internet in the entire world for anything, all the YouTube videos you watch, everything I do at work, everything every adult does at work that's on the internet, add all that together, all of the internet usage in the whole world, 15% of it
That's
I
ridiculous.
thought
That
it would
can't
be
be right.
more.
is Netflix. More?
Are you kidding me?
That's a huge amount of bandwidth for one thing.
Way more people watch Netflix than YouTube and Amazon.
Yeah, but like
Google.
using internet at all? Like,
Still,
you think like people's jobs and stuff? Like,
There's
everyone
like
watches Netflix.
hundreds of millions of working adults in America, or in the maybe not in America, 100 million working adults in America, and a billion in the world that work every day on the internet, and still Netflix is 15%. That's nuts to me. All right, anyways, and this is the last one. In 2017, Netflix announced that someone watched the movie Madagascar 3 352 times that year. That's
Seriously?
almost every day.
I saw the same thing, but with the Bee movie, and Netflix actually reached out to the person that watched it, and apparently, like, she had like it was a mom,
Yeah.
and the only thing that would make like the baby stop crying was that movie.
I
So
kind
she
of-
watched it like 500 times in 1 year.
That's what I kind of assumed about this. Like, I thought it was probably a parent that played it for their kid, because who would watch Madagascar 3 352 times? It's
Well,
probably
like,
Once again, all-time classics with Alvin and the Chipmunks.
if I play like Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's on Netflix. If it stood there for a year or stayed there,
Is there a movie I can
would
watch that many times
Netflix
in 1
reach
year?
out to me?
yeah.
Like, I could just fall asleep to it every night. Boom. World record.
I probably watched Major League 50 times in a year, but 350 that's every day,
Almost a year,
almost
yeah.
every day.
Could have been several times.
It's no fun when you take your headphones off before we get there. All right, Jet.
Knock, knock.
You have to wait for the music to play. This is why you have to have your headphones on.
It's time
Knock,
for
knock.
Jet's Pun of the Week.
Knock, knock.
All right, Jet, what do you got?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Yoda. Leahy.
Yodelehi who?
I didn't know you could yodel.
Oh. How about, here's another Yoda one. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Yoda.
Yoda who?
Yoda one for me.
Like that one.
I've already heard that one.
I've already heard yours.
Yeah, I've heard yours way more.
Did you hear that Netflix is making a Full House remake?
No.
Of course I have. It's Everywhere You Look.
Wow. That's pretty bad.
I just had a backup.
Fuller
in case.
House is really bad.
Yeah.
Wait, I at least I've heard it's really bad. I haven't seen it.
It got some votes on our listener choices. I watched one episode. I did not like it.
You didn't?
No.
Well, every like The Office and like Friends, like every first episode is bad. I feel like.
The pilots.
The
Yeah,
pilot?
pilots.
I don't know. Some of them are really good. I thought The Office was really good.
The Office first season wasn't that good in my
The
opinion.
first episode I thought was good. Like they introduced that they're doing this documentary, and then Ryan is his character is introduced, and Michael Scott's like trying to, impress him or whatever, and he's showing off, and they're like, "This is how we joke around here," and and that's when Dwight pulls out a stapler and it's in the Jell-O. or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And they're making puns, and then he's like, "I got an idea. Let's do like what's the name of that show? The Jamie Kennedy Effect, where you like prank a person and they bring Pam in the office, and he tells her that she's fired for stealing post-its."
That was like so uncomfortable
I
because she
know.
started crying.
She started crying. Yeah. And she's like, "You're a jerk." He's like, "I don't think so."
The Office
So
is
awkward.
the best show at making like you feel awkward.
Michael's Steve Carell's really good at that, and Dwight is always awkward.
I remember when like Michael tried to kiss Pam one episode,
Yeah.
and he leaned in, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And Michael was like, "What are you doing?"
I like when Pam knocked on his door. He's like, "Come in," and he's like naked. He goes, "Why'd you come in?"
Yeah.
He's like, "You said come in." Like,
I remember that too.
The first episode was also when you met. I think her name is Jan,
oh yeah,
and she sent a fax over to Michael, And Pam's like, oh, you have a fax. It's a blah, blah, blah. And he's like, stop right there. Hold on. What did I tell you to do with those? Put them in the special filing cabinet. And she's like, where's the special filing cabinet? And he wads it up and throws it in the trash, right? And then Jan shows up and she's like, Michael, what'd you think of the agenda? He's like, what agenda? She's like, I faxed it over earlier. And Pam's in the room and he's like, Pam, I can't believe this. So inefficient. Where's my agenda? She's like, you told me to put it in the special filing cabinet, which was the wastebasket. She's like, so funny. All right. Anyways, anything else to add about any of this?
What were we talking about?
You did your pun of the week.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen. Please check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/521podcast or tweet us at 521podcast. We also have an Instagram account with the same handle, 521podcast. Give your opinions there. Let us know what you agree with. If you agree with us, we know your opinions. Also, please iTunes and go to iTunes and give us a shout out and email me at 521podcast@gmail.com.
You sound like the guys that enter commercials.
Yeah, yes. Call us 469-607-521. That's 469-607-5861.
They're listing like the side effects of like
Yes.
medicine, and it's like they include like death, nausea, and
don't
cancer.
take this medicine if you're allergic to this medicine. That's my favorite one.
Or it's like they say it like, don't take this medicine if you're allergic to any of the ingredients in the medicine. It's like, okay.
Yeah, or it may cause extreme diarrhea and death. Yeah. All right. Well, we don't know what we're doing next time, but it's going to be something music related. So please join us next time on 5 to 1 for our discussion on
5 to 1
music things.
I want to say, you can love you.